Welcome to the 43rd General Assembly for Tennessee Intercollegiate State Legislature. I'm Lindsay Pierce. More than 40 colleges have registered and 382 delegates are in attendance at this year's TISL General Assembly. The meetings for House and Senate have already convened and the debating has begun. TISL's House correspondent, Daniel Webb, has an update for us.
Thank you, Lindsay. Well, it's only the first day of TISL, but there's already been some great debate on some controversial bills.
Madam Sergeant at Arms, please invite everyone into the chamber and close the doors.
It's officially here. The 43rd General Assembly is up and running. Members of this year's executive board were announced, as well as Supreme Court justices. When Governor Matthew Meinel addressed the assembly, he praised his fellow exec board members, one being Michael Sloan, who described what TISL is all about.
TISL is a program made about 40 years ago for students across Tennessee to come together and debate and pass legislation in a manner that replicates the actual state legislature.
After the joint session, delegates split into separate committees. Education Committee Chair Roy West described how his committee functions.
Well, basically, we just take bills that concern education from K-12 and as well as higher education, and we look at those bills and decide the merit of those bills and whether or not they're worthy to be approved to the Senate.
The House also dealt with these worthy bills, and this is when things get interesting. When bills concerning the death penalty and voter ID laws come up, almost everyone has an opinion and is more than willing to share it. The stage is set for an entertaining weekend at the Doubletree. Reporting from the House of Representatives, I'm Daniel Webb.
Over in the Legislative Plaza is Chris Davis, our AMC3 correspondent.
Thank you, Lindsay. Now, it's not every day that future law students get the opportunity to be inside a real courtroom and experience real courtroom procedure. But today, AMC3 students had that chance.
Oh yay, oh yay. The Honorable Tennessee Intercollegiate Supreme Court is now in session.
With the entrance of the justices, the preliminary rounds of the AMC3 competition began earlier today. AMC3 stands for the Appellate Moot Court Collegiate Challenge. It comprises of TISL students from respective colleges arguing as petitioners and respondents on a legal case. The students are judged by what's called a jury of view, consisting of lawyers that critique the students' performances and determine finalists in the competition. Each round is presided over by a TISL Supreme Court justice. Justice Alex Park describes the process.
There's no arguing of facts and figures and stuff. This is strictly case law, constitutional law, interpreting what has already been established within the legal code.
For UTC student Robert Fisher, the work began early.
We have to go through, look at least 13 case authorities, take those case authorities and develop a brief. The brief was to be submitted November the 1st, so we did a lot of work well before we got into the courtroom.
For many TISL students, this is more than just a friendly competition. It's an opportunity to get real-world experience that they can hopefully use in a future job.
Being involved with the legal profession is something that I very much want to do, and I think that this is a very unique place to learn what it's like in some small sense.
But for me, it's been an exciting experience, and I've learned a lot just from doing the pre-court work.
So regardless of who makes it past the preliminary rounds or who wins the case, TISL students are getting to experience what our state's legal system is really like.
Now, preliminary rounds for AMC3 will continue through tomorrow. Reporting from Legislative Plaza, for TISL News, I'm Chris Davis.
Katie Myers is this year's Senate correspondent for TISL.
I declare the 43rd General Assembly of the Tennessee Intercollegiate State Legislature now in session.
The Tennessee Intercollegiate State Legislative Conference, better known as TISL, began today with the General Assembly briefly convening before breaking out into committee meetings. These meetings gave the 11 committees the chance to discuss legislation and jump right into debate. The Education 1 committee didn't hold back as they dove right into the heart of their legislation. Lindsay Groves, the chairwoman for the Education 1 committee, has high hopes for what her committee will accomplish this week.
The governor of Tennessee will actually see our bills that are legitimate, our bills that are excellent, and eventually will impact Tennessee legislation in reality, and not just here at TISL. That what we do at TISL will go beyond.
After students met in their individual committees, they then went on to the House and Senate to further discuss their legislation. Students in the Senate immediately began discussion about the bills being presented. One of the first bills discussed was the banning of alcohol at TISL.
That's a very important bill this year, just to make sure that we have in place a student-administered policy for any conduct issues regarding alcohol as well as any other issues.
He wasn't the only one to agree with the legislation. When presented to the Senate, it passed with very little discussion. Over the next few days, the Senate will be presented with multiple bills, and there is sure to be much debate. Reporting for TISL News, I'm Katie Myers.